The whales are leaving. The whales are leaving for good reason. Start focusing on the game you've developed and stop trying to capitalize on your success from years past, like the vintage era. If you were focusing on the game as a whole and not trying to milk your fans for as much money as possible, then whales would not be leaving. And it's been pretty clear for the last at least 4 or 5 years, especially since Hasbro has taken over Wizards of the Coast, that you've been trying to milk the whales and trying to make the game more of a collectible rather than a game. Now, the collectability of the game was natural back in the day when, print runs were low. It was a new game. It was an exciting game. People are playing without sleeves. They weren't treating them so much as collectibles, which is one of the reasons why the cards are worth so much money nowadays, is because it wasn't a collectible back then. It was just a game. Just a game. That is the way you should be focusing on this Wizards of the Coast, guys. It's pretty clear that whales are fed up. There's still some whales that are splashing around who are actually interested in the Magic 30th product, but the majority of whales are leaving and they're looking onto greener pastures. And during a time of recession, people are going to be tighter with their money and they're going to be more selective about how they spend it. If you want to compare Magic the Gathering and be completely honest and transparent with yourself, now, we all love Magic the Gathering, but if you are someone who is invested in collectibles in general, like other collectible card games or action figures and models, stuff like that, maybe even video games, you probably want to diversify your portfolio. And a lot of people who are Magic the Gathering whales, if they're not just specifically invested in Magic the Gathering, are probably already invested in other things. And let's be honest, Magic the Gathering is not as investable as you think it is, unless you are investing in old vintage cards. That is it. That is literally it. Of course, there's going to be a few one-offs here and there that are going to go up in value over time, but the vast majority of Magic the Gathering sets have been pretty damn stagnant over the last 3 years. You have like a few outliers like Double Masters, and then you have Time Spiral Master, but that was mostly due to supply issues, which again, obviously supply and demand is a key factor when it comes to investing and collecting and getting a return on your money. But in the last few years, come on, since 2021, name one Magic the Gathering product that's went up by at least 5 to 10%. There's not many. Heck, go back even further and just really think about it. Since Return to Ravnica, how many booster boxes have actually doubled in price? Not many at all. Let's just take a random set. So here's one that wasn't really received well, but then it went up a little bit in value during the pandemic, Ixalan. So you can get Ixalan booster boxes for about $130 to $160 right now as a market price. Now let's take another collectible card game, Pokemon. Pokemon has had quite a few successes since Ixalan, but around that time you had the Sun and Moon era, so you had Sun and Moon, I guess Ultra Prism, right? That's what, a $300 booster box, $250 to $300, so that one's basically more than doubled in price. And then you compare a lot of other booster boxes. Let's go to 2012, okay? And I know Return to Ravnica, it's one of the sets that everyone likes to crap on. I actually love this set, mostly because of it being a game and how fun it was playing. Now, if you get that booster box and say, okay, let's see how collectible it is compared to a booster box from Pokemon, okay? So you're looking at, what, $140 max for a booster box of Return to Ravnica, so it's basically went up by 35, 40%. And then you have a booster box of any black and white set from Pokemon, and they've basically at least went up by 5 to 8 times in value. A lot of them are well over $2,000. $2,000 for booster boxes of Pokemon released in 2012. Now, people have to shake their heads if you are still strongly of the belief that Magic 30th, that was the final straw. That was the final straw. That was it. That was the one thing. Now everyone is pissed off with Wizards of the Coast. No, it's been happening for a while, okay? Magic the Gathering and the finance of it all is mostly about cards going up and down because of demand in the card game, because they're seeing play in other decks. They're not just going to be collectible just because they got the Wizards of the Coast stamp of it. No. And you know what? That's what Magic 30th is showing. Just because they got their stamp of approval doesn't mean squat. It doesn't mean squat. It's not vintage. They're not scarce. They can make as much mass-produced scarce Magic the Gathering cards, and you know what? The community is now seeing through this crap. It should be treated as a game, and that's exactly what Wizards of the Coast need to focus on if they want to save it. Because I'm fed up, and I'm sure a lot of other collectors and people who just play the game are fed up. Wizards of the Coast keep trying to capitalize and trying to basically milk the whales for everything they have. Eventually, there's going to be no plankton left in the sea for the whales to consume, and they'll just swim on their way because they'll go to other games, maybe like Flesh and Blood. It's new, maybe MetaZoo. Maybe the old staples like Pokemon, or maybe they'll just get out of collectible card games in general. After all, we're in one of the worst financial crises since 2008, and it might even get worse starting next year. So be prepared. Face-to-Face Games is having their tour in Toronto and Calgary this year, and I'll be in Toronto for the event. And if you'd like $5 off your event, use the link in my description or the code Mattcaster. If you use my code, come by and see me, and I'll give you an extra $5 event ticket just for using my code and being awesome. The Toronto event is going to be November 25th to 27th, and the Calgary event is going to be December 9th to 11th. If you come to the Toronto event, I'll see you there, and don't forget to say hi.